Bonjour et bienvenue. Aujourd'hui, on va parler de l'imparfait. Welcome. Today we are going to talk about the imperfect tense. As I mentioned in my previous video, the next one, which is this one, will be dedicated to the imperfect tense. Last video, I described the childhood games and memories. And when I teach that chapter or unit, I find it very appropriate for grade level and proficiency level to introduce the imperfect tense, l'imparfait. On continue. Let's continue. Oh, but before, subscribe to the channel, like and share the video if you like them, and hit the notification bell so you get the new lessons as soon as I upload them. Pour la deuxième fois, on continue. L'imparfait is a tense in the past, and it's one of the most ideal verb tenses to describe actions and events of life. Voilà, ça c'est Jean-Luc. L'évolution de Jean-Luc. Quand il était un bébé, quand il était un enfant, quand il était à l'école primaire, et puis maintenant qu'il est un ado. So this is Jean-Luc, and that's his evolution when he was a baby, when he was a child, a toddler, when he was in elementary or a primary school, and now that he is an adolescent. On continue. The imperfect tense, l'imparfait, décrit des actions qui continuent au passé ou bien qui se sont interrompues par une autre action au passé. So the imperfect tense describes action or events that happened continuously in the past or were interrupted by another action in the past. Let's see this in an example. Par exemple, j'attendais le train depuis le matin. Il était déjà midi et j'étais furieuse. I am going to say what it means in English because my students ask me all the time to kind of, guide them, give them the meaning in English so they can, whenever they have a problem understanding. So it's only fair not to throw things at them. And I believe that also those who are subscribed to this channel will appreciate that. J'attendais le train depuis le matin means I was waiting the train since the morning. Il était déjà midi. It was almost already midday. J'étais furieuse. I was furious. Dans le deuxième exemple, on dit « Je regardais mon programme favori quand on a frappé à la porte. » I was watching my favorite show when somebody knocked on the door. Je regardais mon programme favori quand on a frappé à la porte. I was watching my favorite show when someone knocked on the door. Now, in this sentence, we have one continuous action in the past, I was watching, which is interrupted by something that happened suddenly. On a frappé à la porte. Someone knocked on the door. The third example is just describing, and also it shows another action which is happening perhaps spontaneously, but it happened and it's just, one-time action. On a commencé à pleuvoir. Le garçon marchait rapidement quand on a commencé à pleuvoir. The boy was walking fast when it started to rain. It's one time. Le garçon marchait rapidement quand il a commencé à pleuvoir. L'imparfait. The imperfect tense also expresses a routine or something that happened habitually in the past. Par exemple, je fréquentais l'école primaire quand j'avais 5 ans. Je fréquentais l'école primaire quand j'avais 5 ans. I was attending elementary school or primary school when I was 5 years old. Okay, so two tenses here, two verbs in here. We have these verbs in the imperfect tense. Fréquenter, j'avais. Il visitait les grands-parents chaque été. Il visitait leurs grands-parents chaque été. They used to visit their grandparents every summer. So in here we have two examples. One of them is something habitual that was happening in the past. Also, the other one is something that used to happen in the past. Not as habitual as a routine, but something that used to happen over and over again. Continue. In English, it will be was, were, used to, was, were doing something, would as it relates to the past. Par exemple, quand nous étions petits, nous étions fous. Nous faisions des bêtises. On jouait dehors toute la journée. Je vais lire encore une fois. Quand nous étions petits, nous étions fous. Nous faisions des bêtises et on jouait dehors toute la journée. See if you can translate this. I will give you perhaps 10 seconds. Okay. When we were young or little, we were crazy. We used to do silly things. We used to play outside all day. Are we in agreement? Bon, on continue. In this slide, I have presented how both tenses, l'imparfait et le passé composé, work together. Remember, is the example when something was happening in the past and is interrupted by something that happens suddenly. Par exemple, il, le garçon, faisait ses devoirs quand la cloche a sonné. He was doing his homework when the bell rang. Quel verbe est à l'imparfait et au passé composé? So what verb is imperfect and what verb is in the past, passé composé? It's up to you to figure it out. On continue. Let's continue. How do we form the imperfect tense? Remember that in French, the verbs change their endings, or sometimes the stem if they're irregular verb, for every tense. Okay, so when we have a verb in the ER form or IR form or RE or IR, and these are the third group verbs, what we do is we drop the ending and we were left with the stem of the verb. To the stem of the verb, then we add specific endings, which can be whether l'imparfait can also be passé simple, le futur, etc. And le présent aussi, and the present tense also. But this is the general rule. We drop the ER ending or the IR ending, and to that we add the specific endings which are specific for the tense that we are talking about, the imperfect tense. For the ER verbs, we have ion, ie, e. Okay, and this is how it will look. Travailler in English means to work. Okay, does not mean to travel. Sometimes kids they confuse it. Maintenant, je travaillais, tu travaillais, il, elle travaillait, on travaillait. Nous travaillons, vous travaillez, il, elle travaillent. Il, elle travaillait. Maintenant, the IR verbs. Okay? Les verbes qui terminent en IR. Par exemple, accomplir. Here the ending is a little bit specific because we add ISS and then the rest is the same as the ER verb. So the IR verb endings will be isse, 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 ission, issier, isse. Par exemple, j'accomplissais, tu accomplissais, il, elle accomplissait, nous accomplissions, vous accomplissiez, il, elle accomplissait. And now let's take a look at the verbs that end on RE, comme rendre, vendre, descendre, and the verbs that end on IR, but these are not second group verbs, these are third group verbs, and you will see that the endings that we have here are similar or the same with the ER verbs. Par exemple, rendre, we drop the RE and then we add the endings. Je rendais, tu rendais, il rendait. Nous rendions, vous rendiez, il rendait. Partir. Je partais, tu partais, il partait. Nous partions, vous partiez, il partait. And here we are at the end of this lesson. I hope that you learned something today. Give me feedback in the comments and let me know what lessons would you like for me to design or go over. Thank you and have a great day or evening. Au revoir. À la prochaine. See you next time.